I'd also like to introduce my fellow sales associates presenting today. Sandy Albert will be covering the book product and the equipment. Mark Elliott will be doing the actual online demonstration. Dennis Brzezicki will be doing the pricing. And I'll be doing a brief company background and just an overview of our products and services. Of course, our company's name is Realtron Multi List. We have a very unique history at our company. We've been in business since February of 1986. We've been serving the real estate industry for over 18 years. It's kind of unusual. Some of you may know the story, but Realtron Multi List was actually two separate major MLS vendors, Realtron and Multi List. Realtron serviced over 200 boards of realtors across the nation, with over 70 accounts online. Multi-List serviced over 100 boards of realtors across the nation, with over 30 accounts online. Together we are the largest MLS vendor in the U.S. Now some others may say they're the largest, but no other vendor services 300 boards of realtors. Realtron and Multi-List each had their own unique history. Realtron was the first to computerize the MLS industry, whereas Multi-List was the first to develop the first computerized MLS book. Each company had its own products and services that were excellent. They both had very satisfied customers. When the two companies came together, what they did was they set the products side by side. They said, well, what are we going to sell in the future? What's the future of our company going to be? They not only picked the best products from each system, but they also enhanced it. If they picked a product from Multi-List, they enhanced it with Realtron features. So you're getting the best of two companies, the best of two major vendors in the MLS industry. The product we came up with was the Spectrum package. The Spectrum package consisted of the Spectrum MLS book, Spectrum software and hardware, Spectrum property records. Customer service really isn't a product, but it's a service we take very seriously. We have satisfied customers throughout the country. I'd like to cover each of these just briefly, if I may. First of all, the Spectrum MLS book. Our goal is to provide you with an accurate, easy to read, timely publication. We do this by using the latest technologies in the industry, and that's the laser printer and the Rockwell projection plate maker. That may be Greek terms to you, but how we do this is we pull your book directly from the computer system. That ensures that at the time of the book pull, your book will completely match your computer system. The computer sorts it and it goes directly to the laser printer. There's no human error involved. It ensures the accuracy of your book. Since it's coming off a laser printer, it's easy to read because all the font styles are the same. And with the laser printer and the Rockwell projection plate maker, it's less labor intensive. So in fact, we can give you a better turnaround time. So it's accurate, easy to read, and a timely publication.
Mike, excuse me, what comes off of the laser printer? Does a page come off from, for instance, if you've got does the first page of the index to the last page of the photo section come off of the laser printer in page format?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And what happens to the pictures then?
Well, that's the only manual part about it. We mount the photos onto the full page. Then we take it to the Rockwell projection plate maker and take it to plates and spreads.
Is that the process that's used for all of your books?
No, it's not. Currently we have 6 plants nationwide. We're in the process of converting 3 of the plants to this technology. But any new publication such as this board would be going on the laser printer and drawing book projected plate maker.
What if we decide not to take the online service? Would we still have that?
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
Because it's a computer-generated book.
Is there any way we could do that? If we were willing to enter all of our listings into a computer, some sort of personal computer, can you make that available?
However, we do a very good manual book, and we can provide you samples if you'd like to see that. Next is Spectrum hardware and software. Multi-List had a product known as Cash, which was proven throughout the industry. It was installed in over 30 sites. We felt that was a better starting point for the future product of Realtron Multi List. It's very easy to use. It uses English. It has help statements at every prompt. Excuse me. Try them out.
You getting tired?
Try. Like I said, it's very easy to use. It uses help statements at every prompt. As a matter of fact, if you see any other online systems out there in the field that uses help statements at every prompt and uses English at entry fields, it was modeled after the Cash system. Cash was the first to come out with that. But we felt Cash was a good product, but we didn't want to just stay with Cash. We realized over the years that Cash had certain limitations. What we did was we looked at the hardware feature for the Cash software. We were using the 1173 computer system. It's a good system, supported by DAC-VIX, the largest mini computer producer in the country. Whereas in the reg number 1 for the past 2 years in service. So they're a good vendor. But the problem we had with the 1173 was with growth. When we expanded the 1173, we had to set up a completely dual system beside the first 1173 and have those update each other on a constant basis. That was great up front because we had a redundant system. If half went down, you'd always have it half operating. But over the long run, we saw that there wasn't that many advantages to that. There was a lot of disadvantages to that. Number one, if half your system goes down, you have half the phone lines. Half your members are getting busy signals. As far as the operation of the two systems are harder to operate than one large system, which is more procedures involved. If you're maintaining two complete systems, the maintenance on both those systems is very likely higher than what it would be for a larger system. So in all, we decided to go with what's known as the DAC-VIX equipment. And with the DAC-VIX, it can grow in two different ways. We use VMS software, which is DAC recommended. VMS allows you to go up the ranks of the DAC equipment. So if you outgrow your microvacs we're proposing today, you can go up to the 8250 or the 8350, run up the line. So it's a flexible software in that it allows you to grow with the equipment. And there are lease programs out there that will allow you to purchase a microvacs, swap it in for a larger system, and continue your lease. So it's a good way to handle the situation. Another way is you're going on a microvacs. Microvacs DEC has a way of clustering systems. We can install 2 CPUs if you outgrow the first. We can install 2 and have access in one database. And that way you're not losing efficiency and having to constantly update 2 databases. You're operating in one atmosphere. So what we have is known as the Spectrum MLS online software and hardware. And Mark will be going into that more a little later. Spectrum property records is something we're not proposing today, but it's something you should be aware of. This is something Realtron brought to the party. They've been working with this for over 10 years. They have over 20 sites installed nationwide. It's a proven product, and the customers are very happy with it. What we've done is we have rewritten that software to operate on the DEG banks. So if you decide to use this product in the future, you won't have to buy new equipment. We may have to expand it to accommodate all the data, but you can maintain your same system. Spectrum Property Records operates very similar to the Spectrum Online software. So there's no need to memorize two different types of software packages.
Mike, if in the future we want to have the property records, will it run on the same hardware that we buy for the MLS?
Yes, it will.
Same machine?
Well, we will need to, there's a very good chance that we will have to expand your system to accommodate software in the data. And accounting, I don't know if you're familiar with county records, but county records consists of historical data and deed transfers. It's on every parcel of land in your county. It's a massive record. Each record can contain 1,000 characters. So it takes a lot of disk space. If you decide to go with this product in the future, you will need to expand your system.
As far as the disk capacity goes. Now, can you tell me, not to demo, but can you tell me, let's assume I've got them both running on one machine, and I want to go in and I want to do a comp search, and then I want to follow up a couple of properties in the property record just to make sure that the information is driving. Is that a difficult process to do that?
No, it's not. With the tax roll system we have, deed transfers and the tax information are on the same, basically same system. You just go back and forth to each other. What you would do is go in and search for the comps.
In the MLS system?
No.
That's what my question is. If I want to do a comp search in the MLS and pull out 4 or 5 comps, and then I wanted to pull out the property records on 2 of those. Am I going to have to hang up the phone and redial them and go through all that?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
But keep in mind, the comps on your MLS system are the most current in the industry. Your county records are usually 2 months behind. So any comps on your, let's say if you found some old comps, they probably would be on the tax record, but any new sales would not be yet. You can keep that in mind. And finally, customer service. Again, this is something we take very seriously. It's something we're very good at. We have satisfied customers throughout the industry. I've broken down customer service for this presentation in 3 groups: installations, training, and your online and book support. Installations, well, our installations team is basically a salesman's dream. They take it from start to finish, and they're good at what they do. Our installation team can do an installation in 3 to 4 months, where with some vendors it takes 8 to 9 months. As a matter of fact, our last full installation was in Oak Park, Illinois. And Oak Park even wrote a letter of recommendation for their salesman. No names mentioned here. And everyone who was involved during the first year of their service. And that was unsolicited. They just mailed it to us. And we can provide copies if you'd like to have that. But the installation team is a good one. Part of the installations is the training. And we do 2 types of training: the trainer training and the operator training. The trainer training is 5 days here at our Denver facility. I guess it would be at our Denver facility. What we do is take that person out of their work environment. We try to get them away from the phone calls, the daily interruptions, and do the training on site, away from their own site. But we not only train them on how to use the software, but we also train them on how to present the software. Because presenting the software may make a very big difference on how your members participate in the system as far as the number of terminals you have in use. So we feel that's very important. Your operator training consists of 3 days at our demo facility, again, to get them out of the work environment. And also 2 days on-site after your system's installed, just so they can have hands-on experience with their own equipment. Finally, the book and online support. We have one person who is an expert on your account. They handle all book and online questions. When you call them, they will follow up that day or the next day with a response or an update on what you requested. And all we do is give praise on our customer service reps at the Atlanta plant.
How many, within Multi List, not Realtron, but within Multi List, do you have a handle on how many customer service people there are in that role?
At the Atlanta plant, there's 6 customer service reps.
San Antonio.
But that's not the only customer service you get on an ongoing basis. You have your sales rep. And you shouldn't be surprised if the president of our company calls you up and says, well, how are you doing? That's the type of company we are. We have long-term relationships with our customers. Now, each of these products were designed to meet the needs of the real estate industry, this board. Each product is designed to make you more efficient. This is the future of Realtron Multi List. And we would like the opportunity to work with this board in the future. With that, I'd like to introduce Sandy Albert, who will be covering the book portion and the equipment portion of the presentation.
If you have any questions at any point, please feel free to jump right in and ask away. One of the first things I'd like to do is take a look at some of the special features of our book, our MLS book. Spectrum allows us a tremendous amount of flexibility. That flexibility allows us to, for example, produce multiple formats in our books. For example, you may have your residential listings appearing at 6 listings per page, your condominiums at 9 listings per page, and maybe your land listings at 9 per page, 12 per page, or in some cases all the way up to 24 listings per page. I've brought a few books that I've placed on the table that at your leisure you might want to take a look and just see what I'm talking about and how we're doing this. This makes a very affordable product for your users and your membership. If you, as you all are aware, we bill you for your books on a matrix system. The matrix is based on the number of books ordered on a monthly basis as times the amount of average insertions. Insertions are the number of listings that appear on a page in the pictorial section. That doesn't include your indexing section, but it is the pictorial section. So the more listings you can get on a page, for example, in the area of land, you can get more on, because there's probably a lot more information. How much can you really say about a piece of bare land, as opposed to a property with bedrooms and bathrooms and basins and fireplaces, etc. Our Spectrum book also allows you the ability to change frequencies of your property. In other words, you don't have to have every property in your book appearing every issue. So if you would like to have your land appearing on maybe a monthly basis, the first issue of every month, that certainly is something that we can accommodate. Again, you're not losing the quality or completeness of your book because you'll have that information in a one-line format in the back of your book in the form of an index.
Sandy, is that true for any kind of property? Land or condominiums or
You
whatever
can do it
we
with,
choose?
sure. You can do it with any type of property that you choose. The reason I mention land is because most generally land is the one form of property that sits for a long time on the market. It's not like you have a house where there's a lot more turnover and your days on the market are a lot less. But you can do it with any type of property. Spectrum also allows you to be very flexible in your sort selection. When I talk about the sort selection, I'm talking about how your listings appear in the book, in the sequence that, which they appear. For example, your residential listings probably would appear in geographic area, North Denver, South Denver, East Denver, whatever the case may be, and then an ascending or descending price order. That would be the most popular and probably the most common sort. But yet in your income property, you might want to have it on the number of, in ascending number of units, your 5-unit apartments, your 15 units, so on and so forth, or even by square feet. And then in addition to that, maybe add on the price per square feet. And then of course land, you might want to have sorting per acre or by acre, an ascending number of acres. Again, by area, geographic area, or however you'd like to break it down. Due to the amount of information and the power of our Spectrum system, we are able to produce custom indexing. We are able virtually to produce any kind of an index that you might want. In your residential, in a resort area such as this, you may have a lot of condominiums. So you may have a request and want a condominium index so that all of your listings are appearing in a cross-reference index by the Heidelberg condominiums, for example, that type of thing, instead of going by an address. It seems that more people in your area refer to properties not by 125 East Cooper Street, but by the Heidelberg condominiums type of thing. Land is another index that would be very valuable, or also a features index, something if you're in a particular area where you have a lot of farming, stables, that type of thing, horses. We're able to accommodate any of that. And of course, Spectrum interfaces, our Spectrum online interfaces with our book system. Everything that you put into your book, whether it's a new listing, whether it's a price change, address change, whatever the case may be, is directly sent to us by telephone lines that goes into your book. This gives you control because it's as accurate as the information that you're putting in, either through your board office or through your individual real estate offices.
Sandy?
Yes.
How frequently, let's say that we have a bi-weekly book, how frequently does the publishing plant talk to our Spectrum system?
Normally on a weekly basis.
Once a week?
Mm-hmm. It depends on how large your database is. If you're a relatively medium-sized boards, will probably talk to your system once a week. If on the other hand you're a large book with a large database, we'll do a book pull midweek and marry that with your final book pull at the end of the week or the end of the next week to produce your book.
When you do that pull, are you simply pulling a transaction file? Is there a transaction file that's built in Spectrum, and you pull that file down to the publishing plant?
We pull the file. Your staff, your operator, which we would train on how to do this, will prepare book tapes. We don't pull the entire journal across, transaction journal. We prepare the tapes that come across and we build on as building blocks each week of any changes to whether it's a status change or a new listing or a price change or any kind of a line work change. We build on and weed out and add to.
Can you explain what the tapes are a little bit? You said it comes across phone lines, but you said the staff person will prepare tapes.
Right.
I'm really interested in this, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, what we do when it's time, you don't have to be there. For example, when it's time to pull your book, you go through a set amount of procedures or number of procedures just to pull everything up to make it current, to create your files, if you will. Maybe the tape was misleading. It really is creating your files. Then as you get your files set and ready to go, you go off down the street, go home for the evening. We call in at whatever time that we have you scheduled and pull that data across, those files of information across your telephone lines to us. and then produce the book that way. I misled you when I talked about tapes. There are no tapes that go back and forth. It's strictly
Okay, so
files that are sent across the telephone.
I then, as the operator, go to the system and say, okay, it's time for a book pull, create the file.
Right.
The file is created, and then it's just
You
sitting
go
there
on
waiting
your
for-
way, and we call in at 5:30, midnight, whatever the case may be. You don't need to be there. In return, we send a tape back, or a file back. I shouldn't use the word tape. We send a file back, which is called a page and volume tape or file, which updates your online system so that when the people come in the next day or when their book comes out, and we reference on our line copy that you can find this particular listing on page 23 of your book, it's current, because maybe it was on page 15 in the week before.
While you're doing the book pull, is the system shut down?
No, it's not.
So it is.
Right.
And how long is it, if I'm a system operator at the board, how much of my time during the week is this going to take if I have a weekly book? I mean,
To
what-
ready the tapes,
Right, what I have to do.
maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Again, it depends on the size of your database and the activity that's going on.
Do I have to do anything when they send this page and volume tape back to put that
No,
in the system? That's automatic?
It goes, yeah, we feed it right into your system. When you come in the morning, you're basically ready to go. Say that we call it would be all set.
A lot of that communication is done after hours too, which helps minimize the amount of board staff time to take doing this maintenance chores.
Let's take a look at a typical table of contents in a typical book. One of the first things that you'll notice on the table of contents are the right-hand side margins and tabbing. This is provided for quick and easy reference to specific types or categories of property. For example, by thumbing through it very quickly, you can find your residential listings with basements, residential without basements, condominiums, farms and ranches, that type of thing. It just makes it a little bit quicker and easier to use. Quick and dirty reference.
Do those tabs appear on every page of that
Yes, they
particular
do.
section?
They start with the heading on the table of contents page and a brief explanation, and then you'll find only the tab, the RE1, etc., throughout the book, bleeding through on each page.
And those are generated by the laser printer.
Yes, they are.
He just helped you.
We insisted on it, plant that continuously. They still do their best to try to get us not to solve it, but it's really a nice feature.
Our typical book is broken into 3 sections. However, we have the ability with our Spectrum product of giving you 5 sections in the book, up to 5 sections in our book. The first part of the book, or the first section of the book, is typically the new listing section, which obviously I think you can understand. It's the new listings that appear in that particular section for one issue only. They automatically go into our second section of the book, which is the previously listed section. They will remain in the previously listed section of the book until they've been reported as sold, reported as under contract, have been withdrawn by you, or have automatically expired by your computer system.
Can I not have a new listing section?
Sure. You can have, we can set it up just about any way you want. Like I say, the Spectrum system is very, very flexible. This is what the things I'm showing you today is are basically our typical product, our standard product. But if new listing section isn't something that you desire, we certainly can go away with that. We can put it in and have them appear in the book with a little flag on it that says new listing. That kind of thing. Certainly do that.
Sandy, we're with PRC now, of course, and we've got these online supplements in the book where there's an addendum to a listing that appears in the book. Is that possible with
Sure.
multi-list?
As a matter of fact, you can have multiple addendums.
Really?
What'll happen when you have an addendum is that you'll have your listing appearing first, and then immediately following on the same page, you'll have an addendum or supplement, as you call it. If there are 2 addendums, your second addendum would come up next. Now, one thing I need to caution you with our system, and it really isn't something it's not a negative, it actually is very positive, is our addendum is not put into the computer system. In other words, any addendums that are sent in and put into your book are not computer generated. The reason we do this is because it allows you the flexibility of doing a little artwork. If you take a look through some of the books, you'll notice some of the work that the people do, whether it's drawings, company logos. For example, they'll draw a map of how to find the property, maybe a rendering, an additional photo or rendering of that particular property. If we would have this computerized, of course, you'd lose that ability. So that's one thing you want to be, that is, could be a drawback. We don't look at it that way because we look at it as allowing you to have that creativity.
How do I get those addendums into the online system, or do I not?
How do you get the addendum into the online system?
Do I have a separate sheet that I use to fill out and then put that in the computer system?
No, the addendum will not appear in the online at all. It only appears in the book, which must be submitted manually by you.
So we
but it
couldn't
is
have
not.
it.
So it's not searchable. But we could do that, but then you lose your maps and your photos and that type of thing, that ability. Okay, the third section of a typical book is the indexing section. The indexing section, again, the items that I'm going to talk about now are what I prepared in your book pricing as a standard book. You are by no means limited to these. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility that we can work with to create what you need. One of the first items that you'll notice in the indexing and report section is a weekly activity report. A weekly activity report is merely a list of transactions that have taken place during the time that book is being delivered. Listings that have come on new. They're strictly statistics. New listings, listings that have been reinstated, listings that have been reported as under contract or sold, and the dollar volumes that go along with those. We also provide weekly, bi-weekly, depending on your frequency, month-to-date and year-to-date statistics. Again, these are designed to help you find hot spots in your market. Where are the listings selling? Where are the under contracts? Where are there a lot of new properties coming onto the market? We also provide an alphabetical street index, which is an alphanumeric order of all the listings according to their address in the book. This, again, is one line of information, very quick and dirty, the number of bedrooms, the number of baths. We have several varieties to choose from, so that if you want to put garages, yes or no, whether it has fireplaces, yes or no, that type of thing can all be included in this one line of information. This is very helpful in the fact that, let's say you're on floor duty and someone calls or happens to walk in and says, gee, can you tell me a little bit more information on that property at 2600 South Poplar? And you're not able to get onto the computer system immediately. You grab your book, take a look in the Alpha Street Index, are able to refer to that page to get more information. This may be a particular property that has either been taken in by someone else in your office or maybe a competitor down the street. I think you'll all agree that many times our customers just walk in wherever they find a real estate door. They really don't care, so it's a good way to pick up some additional sales. The listing number index is a cross-reference of your Alpha Street Index. As each listing is input into the system, the computer automatically assigns a control number. This control number is unique to that particular listing and cannot be duplicated. I think this index is probably used a bit more by your MLS office than it would be for you, but it is something still that's very useful as a means of cross-reference. We also provide in our standard book a recap of past sales. And the recap of past sales, again, is in alpha order according to the address. And we'll also have additional information aside from the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, that type of thing. We'll add the days on market, the selling price, terms, and selling broker ID. They will accumulate in the recap of past sales for 1 quarter. It can go longer if you choose to have it longer, but it normally or typically will appear in there and accumulate for 1 calendar quarter, at which time we purge your system or clean out your system of all the sold information or off-market information to create a sold book, which also is in the same format as far as your weekly or your normal book is.
I want it to go longer, the same price?
No. As I mentioned earlier, your book pricing is done on a matrix, which is the number of insertions. So as your insertions grow, your price could change. fewer number of listings that are in there and the higher quantity of books, the cheaper the book
This
is.
is an index, right?
Not when it goes into your sold book.
The cumulative.
Oh, the recap of past sales, yes, is an index, but when we clean it out, it goes, the information, the photo, and the listing itself, which is fixed with your sold label, which has additional, like your selling terms, your days on market, selling price, and your selling broker ID will go into your sold catalog, your cart.
Okay. But I heard you say that if I want to, I can let the index.
Oh, I see.
go on
Okay,
along.
I'm sorry.
And that was what I was
Yes,
wondering.
we can do that as well. And the way we have our books priced, actually, it would be very, very minimal. Like maybe a penny or two, depending on what your database is like, of an increase in book cost over a period of time. Because we calculate our pricing on the pictorial section. Your indexing obviously is taken into consideration when we do your pricing, but that doesn't weigh as heavily as on your pictorial section. So you wouldn't see much of an increase.
Whether you meet Ray Zola.
Pardon?
I said, whether you meet Ray Zola, Ray's our pricing guy. Go ahead.
We'll play this back for him in McLean.
Oh. One of the other features that we provide in our standard book is a membership roster. The membership roster, again, is alphabetical office names with your address, office phone number, as well as your sales associates in alpha order and their home telephone numbers. We also can flag your broker, the name of the broker for that particular office, as well as the secretary if you'd like to have that pointed out. We have provided in our pricing today 8 notice pages or board pages. These pages are for you to use in whatever manner you'd like to use them. If you'd like to use them as a calendar of events, put your MLS meetings on, your marketing sessions, your educational programs, those are yours to do with what you may. You may want to use them for maps. You may want to use it to put information, regulations on how the proper way to measure a property according to NAR, that type of thing. In addition, I might point out too, as a thought you might keep in mind, many boards will use these notice pages or board pages for a form of advertising. We can print advertising on different colored paper and a little different stock and place them in a separate section of the book if you would like to use it as advertising. Many boards will also use their covers. Your inside, front, and back covers are also yours to use as you see fit. And many boards will use this as a form of advertising. They'll divide the page up into maybe a full page or half page or quarter page, and they'll go to mortgage lenders, title companies, appraisers, whatever the case may be, and they'll sell space on the book to be used for advertising. This is a nice, effective way to help offset the cost of your...
How frequently can that change, Sam? Can I change that every week?
Sure. No, well, sure. The question, the answer you probably would like to hear is that you have 4 free changes a year. It doesn't matter if you want to use them all together or if you want to use them once a quarter. Originally, they were designed as a quarterly change with the season, so that if you had a picture of your board office in the heat of July, you may not want to have a winter scene there, or maybe you would. And if you go over that 4 free, you certainly can have as many as you want, but there could be a nominal charge.
Are those advertising pages, the inside, front, and back cover, are they provided in the pricing you've given us? You're saying
Your cover, yes, inside and out.
We can use those inside covers for advertisement. It doesn't cost us anything extra than what you priced right here?
If you submit it to us camera ready, there's no additional charge. If you would send it to us in a form that's not camera ready, we have to do typesetting, then we charge for the typesetting, but otherwise, no. It all comes along and included in the price.
Well, that's pretty nice. The vendor won't let us do that.
We're just terrific.
We'll find out.
Some of the other services I've indicated and mentioned, the Soul Book. One of the other services that we provide, which some of our competitors do not, and it seems to be a very sought after piece of information is, and I apologize for this not being the best duplication, is a worksheet or status report, if you will. A worksheet is a list by your office of all of your active and inactive properties. We provide 2 forms of information or flags that we put on the status sheet or worksheet to help you out. One of those is an under contract flag. Your MLS committee will notify us when we're setting up your book product what type of date you would want in there, 60 days, 90 days, 120, whatever the case may be. What that does is once that listing has been in the under contract status for 60 days, 61 days, that next issue, the listing would be flagged saying the above listing has been under contract for 60 days. Nothing's going to happen other than we're doing it to help you for two reasons. Number one, because we want you to have accurate statistics. It's very easy to report a listing as under contract and walk away. You've gone to the closing table, you've gotten your commission, you've spent it, and you forget all about reporting it as sold. So this is to help you with your statistics. The other reason, and many boards count their under contract as an active listing. This goes back again to the matrix where it's counted as an insertion and could affect the cost of your book to everyone else because of maybe one listing. The other flag that we provide is an expiration date flag. Again, the time that this appears on your status sheet is set by your MLS committee. I would say the standard is 4 weeks. All it says, the above listing will expire in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. The listing is going to expire this week. It's good in the fact that if you have a new listing fee or a reinsertion fee, that this will help you avoid it because it's not going to fall out of the book, nor will you lose exposure by having it fall out of the book system and maybe taking another week to get it back in.
Yeah, I probably just missed it. How often do these go out to the offices?
These come out every issue, and they come out to your, depending on how we set up, if we deliver your books to individual offices, your status sheet will be delivered along with your book. If we deliver it to a central point at your board office through your pigeonhole, it'll be put in there. So they do come, they're confidential, it's by office, so not everyone down the street has access to your listings or your expiration dates. One of the other items that we add at the bottom, when I talk about confidential, we add confidential broker statistics. What these are, shows by month and quarter to date, those listings which you have listed and sold, those listings which you have listed and someone else sold, and those listings which you've sold that someone else has listed. And again, that can be very helpful, especially for the broker, to see how you're coming along. Okay. As Mike indicated, Realtron Multi List prides itself on being a full-service vendor. We are able to give you the benefit of computer ownership with the support and the comfort that you know you have someone standing behind you, as well as a single source vendor for your book product. Again, this is something that not all of our vendors or all the competition is able to do. We are completely full service and able to provide everything. We understand that one of the primary importance to your board is the purchase of a system that will not only meet your current needs, but all at an affordable price, but also allow you room to grow. So with that in mind, we have proposed a DEC, or Digital Equipment Corporation, Microvax 2 computer system. The DEC Microvax 2 system is a state-of-the-art CPU, which is a low-cost, compact, 32-bit architectural system. The system will, as Mike indicated, will run on VMS, Ultrex, or Vaxlin operating systems. We use VMS in conjunction with our Spectrum software. This Microvax 2 is very easy to operate. It requires minimal service. For example, there's extensive self-diagnostics in the system that's able to diagnose not only the hardware but the software for any errors as opposed to normal operating system, and then report that information, or record it, I should say, so that you have hard copy to refer to when you go in and need to, or a service representative comes out to help correct that particular problem. Also, your system is field upgradable. For example, the system that we've proposed to you today is a 24-port system. However, by adding changing this configuration, your system has the room to grow up to a maximum of 40 ports. If, however, down the road you decide to regionalize with another board or more, and you've grown up to and surpassed the 40 port limit, we also have the ability with the microvacs of clustering or adding more information or more parts, if you will, another disk drive, another CPU, more memory, whatever the case may be, to allow you to expand beyond the 40 port limitation. So you're not in a situation where, gosh, we'd like to regionalize with the board down the road, except that we don't want to have to chuck all the equipment that we have and start all over again. You can build on it, the building block system.
Sandy, how many, what do you put on the regular microvacs to get up to 40 ports? They don't usually hold 40 ports just in the vacs itself, do they? Do you put an expansion, some kind of additional equipment with it to get up to 40?
We would add ports, additional ports and modem kit and, let's see, ports, a kit, expansion kit, and the modem.
Expansion kit?
Mm-hmm.
How many ports on the expansion? I guess I wanted to know how many ports.
They come in increments of 8.
Yeah.
You go at 8 port, 16 port, 24 port, 32 port, and all the way up to a 40 port system. But they do come in increments of 8 the way we sell it. The Microvacs 2 does not require any special kind of environment or protection system. We recommend normal office setting, very much like we are today. We do, however, recommend that you have standard air conditioning that's capable of running 24 hours a day, 7 days per week, especially during the summer months. That could really cause you a problem. The Microvacs 2 also runs on 110 volt, 30 amp electrical outlets or circuits. Again, the one area that we would caution you here is that you would want to make sure that you have a dedicated circuit or dedicated line to your system. You wouldn't want to have a copy machine or your typewriter on that same circuit. As far as hardware maintenance is concerned, we recommend that you have a 4-hour plan. However, you can go, if you choose to spend the money, you could have a 2-hour response time, 8-hour response time. There's a wide variety. We recommend a 4-hour response time from the time the initial call is placed. You may go with either your manufacturer, which in this case would be Digital Equipment Corporation, or a reliable third-party vendor. Let's talk a little bit about the base system configuration that we've proposed. As I mentioned earlier, we proposed a 24-port system which will accommodate your current needs. This has been broken out into the 16 dial-up ports or 16 telephone lines that will be coming into your system for users to dial in on. We're also providing 3 CRTs and 1 printer for your staff or MLS use. They'll be using this for the data entry, for generating various reports, etc. And then in addition, we've given allotted 4 training terminals to be used in your training facility for your trainer to train your members with. As I indicated, we do have the ability to grow to a 40-port capability by merely adding modems, ports, and telephone lines. Backup or a duplication of your data in your system to be used in case there would be an emergency or something that would happen to destroy your system is done via a tape cassette. We call it a TK50. Book data transmission that we...
Do you have to, will we have to take the system down to do the backup?
Yes, you do go down when you do backup. You usually try to schedule that in your non-prime time hours, so you will lose a little bit. Dennis?
Well, actually, there's a couple backup procedures in there. In the normal routine daily backup tape save where you're just saving the database and the transactions for the day, the system doesn't take down.
Save the entire database plus transactions, but not system software.
Right. You're not doing an image backup. The image backup, you have to take the system down. That's maybe twice a month that would be done.
And how long would you do that for to save
Half hour
5,000?
to an hour on a microvacs.
Okay, our book data transmission It will be done over telephone lines by a 2400 baud modem. One of the other things I'd like to point out, just for your information, this is a little dollar saver. Realtron Multi List pays for the telephone call to call your computer system to pull this data across. All long distance calls are paid for by Realtron Multi List. With the 24 ports and your 125 offices in this board, your terminal to telephone ratio, it will be 7.5 to 1, or 7.5 terminals accessing one telephone line. With a 100% participation board, which is how you are, that falls very well within our guidelines of 9 or 10 to 1. So you have a tremendous amount of growth space.
You said in fact is 9 or 10 to 1 what you were found to be in fact acceptable.
Yes. In a 100% participation mode. It would be 5 or 6 if you were in a voluntary situation. And you all understand when I talk about voluntary and 100% participation what I'm talking about? Okay. Okay, we talked about the hardware. Let's talk about some of the user access equipment. You know, the TI 707, TI is Texas Instruments 707, which is a 300 baud thermal paper portable, I hate to use the word, but dumb terminal. It's not capable of doing any computation. Less intelligent, maybe, is a better way to phrase that. It will run on either direct current. It will also be run. It can be run on a battery pack or in a car. If you're in your car and you have a battery pack with a cellular phone, you can dial up as you're dialing down the street and do some searches and that type of thing. You may also access the system with a Liberty, Okidata, or similar brand package. And a Liberty is a CRT screen. So it would be a CRT screen, the Okidata has to be a near letter quality printer, and a modem, a 300, 1200 Autobot modem. When I talk 300, 1200, 300 is 30 characters per second, 1200 is 120 characters per second of information. Again, the nice thing, the upside of having a CRT is that you're not using the paper like you're going to use in the 707. The downside of it is that if you lose your portability, it's kind of hard to strap this on your back and charge off to your customer's home to do a listing or a comp. You may also access the Spectrum system with your PCs. So if you already have an IBM PC or IBM compatible PC in your office, or if you're in the process of purchasing one with the use of a modem as well as communication software, you can access the system as well. We have developed a package called SpecTalk that's available for $49.95 plus a small handling charge that will allow you to access with your equipment into our system, into the Spectrum system.
Does that have a communication software right on it? Or
Yes.
is that just, okay.
Yes.
So I wouldn't need crosstalk or anything in addition to that?
No. It operates, it's compatible with MS-DOS, and it also is compatible with internal and external modems. You don't need to do anything special with it. It is the communication software.
Do you have anything for Apples?
No.
Apple? So if they have an app, you can use it.
This is designed to go with an IBM or IBM compatible.
Okay,
So
well.
Macintosh, is that what you're alluding to,
Yeah.
Macintosh?
Yeah, I've got 10 of them in my office.
We'll work on it.
You can use any number of off-the-shelf software
Right.
packages for your Apple Macintosh.
Oh, but I can
Yeah.
access Spectrum with the
Absolutely.
Apple. That's what I was asking.
This is,
Oh.
oh, I see what you're
Strictly
saying.
to simplify the process and make an inexpensive communication package available for DOS machines.
Oh,
But I don't preclude Apples from that.
How does that handle answer back?
It's programmable for answer back. Some off-the-shelf packages are also programmable for answer back, but most are not. And that's a decision that the board would have to make as to whether or not they're going to even utilize answer back security or simply rely on an offsite reset or a two-step identification process for security.
We have our choice.
You have your choice. And if you go with the non-answer back, it opens the door to virtually any communication package that can communicate full duplex, all the real industry standard communication.
Can we use them both? Or have passwords?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Quickly, I'll wrap up with the cost of TI 707. TI 707 can be purchased at $575 a unit, or if you order it as bulk lease, $12.08 a month for bulk lease. That's for the TI 707. That gives you the portability and uses the paper. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to mention is if you have a modular telephone system, you don't need to have a modem, an external modem. You can just put the little clippy right into the wall and you're in great shape. The Liberty CRT with keyboard, with the Multitech 300-1200 Autobahn modem and the Okidata printer is available to purchase at, excuse me, I'm sorry, Stan, $12.90 to purchase outright, or $27.09 a month for a bulk lease amount. One other thing that we found that I would like to caution you, if you want to go with the with the Okidata or a CRT type terminal as opposed to the 707, we really highly recommend that you have an RJ11 telephone jack. RJ11 telephone jack is the little plastic modular flip with that modem.
How long a lease do I have to sign?
1 year. Are there any questions? At this point, before I turn it over to Mark Elliott, I'd like to thank you very much for the time and consideration that you've shown me today. Thank you very much. And with that, Mark will...
There's a lot to be said for this word health. Dennis and I relied on it rather heavily getting ready for this presentation. In fact, just a few moments ago, some of you may be aware of it, we ended up with an alien database. But asking the system for help, we were able to find our way through something we really didn't know anything about as recently as this morning. The Spectrum system responds to the word help. It operates in English. That's one of the things you'll be seeing. But we were able to ask for help. It responds to the word help. I personally, at the keyboard, like to take a little shorter way into it, just type in a question mark. But you'll find your way through it by asking for help at all times. Now, a user's manual is certainly part of the package, whether you elect a turnkey or full service. And I don't want to downplay the value of the user's manual, but the manual is really part of the system. You can find your way through it. You'll find applicable sections of the manual right in front of you just by asking for help. Down to the point where if you don't even know what program you want to operate, so you can get a list of your programs, or you can find what types of responses are being asked for. Yes.
Is there a charge for the manual, Mark?
No. If you go full service, there would never be a charge for the manual. All subscribing offices would have one. If you decide to go turnkey, you are taking a lot of responsibility on yourself. So we'd get you a good startup supply, certainly enough for all of your subscribers in the beginning, and I guess a generous amount beyond that. And then there would be a charge if you chose to be a turnkey.
So we need to define the word generous in negotiation.
We need to define the word generous and the word charge.
Okay.
Are the manuals customized at all to our particular system?
There is a generic manual with a customized supplement that would show your data names, your fields, but the manual itself is generic. You really get sort of a two-part manual. Spectrum operates in a logical manner. You describe using English words, no alien codes to memorize. You describe using English and using logical statements what you're looking for as you're going through a search. You describe using some of these English words. We call them magic words. They go along with a few searching symbols that we'll be using. Yes, something is interesting to you. Yes, you need, we'll be working with swimming pool, for instance. You want a home that, yes, has a swimming pool. Just as well, you could say, no, I don't want something. You want a home that does not have a certain feature. Perhaps electric heat, that's been used in earlier examples. You can say that. Heating, the type you want is any type, but not electric. Again, we're not even dealing with symbols here, just these words that the system responds to. If you want a combination of features, if you want parking, if you want a garage, and you want your garage to be big enough to house 2 cars, you're using the word and. You just tell it, I want a garage, and I want it to be a 2-car garage. Or if you're willing to take one of 2 types of things, perhaps you'd like a home that's a ranch, or a traditional. Again, just using those English words, you're logically describing just what you're looking for. And normally you're telling it exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for an exact match. Spectrum does have something called close match, or nice to have, a way to indicate that something is desirable but not absolutely required. Perhaps your buyer is very interested in a fireplace. They'd certainly prefer a home with fireplace, but they're willing to look at homes that don't have fireplaces. With the close match feature of Spectrum, you can tell it just that. The system will go out and first find your exact matches, and you'll get them. But it knows, because you told it that close match, through close match, that fireplace is not essential. It knows to go ahead. You'll then get your close matches. It'll tell you exactly why the listing is not a close match. It's missing the fireplace. If you've got a couple of items in there that you would use a close match on, it would tell you what made it a close match rather than an exact match. We're finding menus to be very attractive to people, particularly new users. People want to go in and learn quickly. And they've got a manual, and there's training available, particularly if it's full service training. But the system can be learned by the menus that are available. We'll go in and we'll see a main menu, we'll see sub-menus, and we'll see how a beginner can learn everything from the menus that are provided. The important thing is that those menus are switchable, and we can compare them really quite perfectly to restaurant menus. You know your way around your favorite restaurant. You know exactly what's available. You don't even want them to bring you a menu. You want them to bring you a special number 7. The menus can be turned off so that you're not wasting your time, your paper, looking at what your choices are, because you're experienced. If you're experienced, you may not want to stick with the things that Spectrum puts out there as automatic outputs. There are a number of choices for listing output that are part of Spectrum. Customizing is available, and new users can learn this too, but certainly the experienced user may want to pick out a couple of ways that they'd like listings to look. It's no problem at all. In fact, I can very honestly say that there are an unlimited number of ways that you can have your output to look. Most online systems take advantage of prospect programs. There we go. Most online systems take advantage of prospect programs. It allows you to store information about your prospects, to store searches really, to say what somebody's looking for. We carry it a little bit further so that there are automatic matches, if you want them, between your prospects and the listings that are out there. Again, we've got something switchable. If you add a new listing, if you would like to, Spectrum will tell you on adding the listing that there are prospects in other offices that match up with your listing. If you are looking at the update program, which shows you new and changed listings, activity on the system, Spectrum will tell you, if you wanted to, that there are listings in your office, or prospects rather, prospects in your office that match up with specific listings on that update report.
Mark, if we make a price change to a given listing one day, will it give us